Hi guys, this is Sam and welcome to EngLogic, where I help advanced English learners and teachers improve their English by analysing its logical and mathematical patterns. Today's video is going to be a little bit different from what I usually do because I will not teach you anything specifically English related, but I'd like to share with you something that I've noticed over the years as a teacher and learner when it comes to expanding your vocabulary to an advanced or very advanced level. What I've realised is that if you want to reach that level, it's actually far too easy to talk about abstract concepts such as love, abortion, the vaccine, because as philosophically controversial as they may be, they don't actually require you to use a vast range of vocabulary to express your opinion. Let's take the COVID vaccine. We have people that are against it and people that are in favour of it. But if I ask you why you are against it, you can simply say, I don't want to put a chemical substance in my body. If you are in favour of it, you can say, I believe in science and I want to be protected. As I'm sure you've noticed, I've expressed my opinions very clearly, but I've only used very basic vocabulary, which is not useful if I want to reach C2. Talking about these topics makes it very easy for your brain to cheat. Let's say you are against the vaccine for very deep philosophical and scientific reasons that you would like to explain to me. What I think happens is that the minute you try to start this conversation, your brain understands whether you have the lexical ability to sustain it, and if it realizes that you don't, it will automatically cause you to either be completely silent or to say something very simple, such as, I don't want any chemical substances in my body. Now, why is that a problem? If you learn English with me and you tell me that you don't want the vaccine because you simply don't want any chemical substances in your body, I, as a teacher, can't know whether that's your full opinion or whether in your native language you would go deeper and you don't in English simply because you don't know how to. And since this simple opinion is meaningful and grammatically correct, I can't even challenge it by saying that it's wrong or that I want to know more because I don't actually know if you have more to say about it because I can't compare it to anything. So you as a student don't use much vocabulary to begin with, and I as a teacher don't really know how much more I can push you on this. And that's why I think that talking about concrete things such as events, stories, or even films is much more productive and challenging. I've recently uploaded a vocabulary video using superheroes, which I think is a great way to improve your English. In the video, I suggest that teachers should get their students to describe the background stories and superpowers of superheroes, and here's why it's extremely effective. Let's take Superman. If my student simply tells me that Superman can fly, I understand that they're either very lazy and they don't want to put any effort in explaining more, or they simply don't know how to, so they don't have the vocabulary or grammatical ability to do so. And the only reason why I know that is that I myself know Superman, and I know that not only can he fly, but he also has super speed, super strength. So I can keep challenging and pushing my student to tell me more because I know for a fact that there is more to say. If my student is a low level, I can ask them, how do you say that he to get the word speed or fast out of them. If I have a higher level student, I can ask them what's Superman's Achilles heel, which is his weakness. So by doing that, the student can learn a very sophisticated way of saying weakness. And again, since I know Superman, there is no way for my students to cheat their way out of this situation. Clark Kent is a journalist, so the only word that I want to hear when I ask my students about his job is journalist. As a very basic example, let's say that my student doesn't know the word journalist. If they're describing their mother, who in real life is a journalist, but that I don't personally know, since my student doesn't know the word journalist, they can simply tell me, oh, my mother is a teacher, and I wouldn't be able to fight that because I don't know their mother. But if my student tells me that Clark Kent is a teacher, there is no way I would ever buy that because I know that he is not. So what I expect from my student is either the straight word, or if they don't know it, I expect them to go around it and try to explain it to me in a different way. If we translate this concept into higher levels of English, as teachers we can use this as an opportunity to teach our students very sophisticated words that they may simply not know. So when a student tells me that Superman is very fast, I can leap at the chance to tell them that we can say the Superman can flash from one room to the other very quickly, or he can zoom out of a room very fast. We can apply this method to a lot of different things. It can be superheroes, fairy tales, films, books, or simply real-life events that need to be described in great detail. And now I'm going to say something that a lot of teachers might actually disagree with. When you learn a foreign language, everyone tells you that you should simply and only think in that language. You should never revert back to your native one, so you are fully immersed in the new language. But I actually disagree with that. Let's stick to the example of Superman. If I have a B2 to C2 student who wants to improve their vocabulary, I ask them to go home and write a full, detailed and very specific description of Superman in their own native language, using the words that they would naturally use to describe him naturally. I then ask them to translate this text from their native language into English, and I think it's extremely beneficial because in their native language they freely use all the colors and nuances of the language that they want, and by translating those into English they now know how to say those same concepts in another language. Earlier I said that Superman can zoom out of a room very quickly. If a student simply doesn't know that the word zoom has the meaning of moving fast, they will never use it because we can't use something that we don't even know exists. The chances are that when they described Superman in their native language, they used something very similar to the word zoom, and now that they are translating it from their native language into English, they would find this translation in the dictionary and therefore learn a new word. Another extremely useful tool to improve your vocabulary is, in my opinion, to describe very basic everyday life activities such as tying up your shoelaces or brushing your teeth without actually doing it. You need to imagine that you are giving instructions to someone that can't see you, and just with your words you need to be very specific about what they need to do. I know this sounds very silly and idiotic, but because we never really talk about these activities, we just do them daily, and we only ever heard them spoken about once when our parents taught us to tie up our shoelaces, for example. Our brain is not used to hearing and using these words in these contexts because we never talk about them, which means that explaining to someone how to tie up their shoelaces without doing it will be hard even in your native language. I will challenge you now to try and explain to me right here and right now how I should do it without doing it yourself. So you need to imagine that I'm holding the shoe and the shoelaces, and only with your words in your native language you need to tell me how to do all these movements. Now, of course, you will be able to explain it to me because it's your native language, but it will be very hard, and if we were to technically and grammatically analyze what you tell me in your native language, I can assure you that it will be not 100% correct because your brain will be forced to use codes that it doesn't usually use. So it's very hard for it to come up with the right words and right grammar on the spot. In the future, I will make a vocabulary video on tying up your shoelaces where I will be holding the laces, and together we will try to understand how to express this movement and this movement, and I think this is an amazing way to improve and enhance your vocabulary exponentially, and also to use the vocabulary that you already know in a deeper and more effective and efficient way. As a quick recap, if you're a teacher, I highly recommend you try out some of these ideas to help your students enhance their vocabulary, especially if they're advanced students. If you're a learner, you can most definitely do this on your own, but make sure you challenge yourself as much as you can. And that's it for today. If you liked this video, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to my channel down below. And please do let me know in the comments if you've tested any of my ideas and what your thoughts on them are. And in the meantime, I will see you next week with my next video.